Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from Cobra Productions, here to strike first, strike hard, and to show no mercy to Cobra Kai Season 3, Episode 9, Feel the Night, the penultimate episode of Season 3, and the penultimate episode to fulfill my commitment to covering this season and this series, though odds are pretty good that I will continue to do so. The episode's description reads as follows. It's Christmas time in the valley, and romance is in the air. Daniel and Miguel, unexpected common ground, and the Cobra Kai recruits go on a mission. Alright, well, I love this episode. I like it better than the finale, which also contains some pretty great scenes, but also some pretty ludicrous ones as well, as finales of this series often do. But that's a discussion for the next video on this series. This one has scenes that are sort of a precursor to what I love about Season 4, and to a limited extent, Season 5 as well. The Daniel and Miguel scene is the most reminiscent of what I'm talking about here. This episode features the return of Allie Mills, played by Elizabeth Shue, which at the time there was much speculation about whether her character would return to Cobra Kai or not, given that she was important to both Daniel and Johnny. At the time, she was shooting scenes for The Boys, but her role in that series concluded in a rather gruesome way. If you haven't seen that series, I highly recommend checking it out. It's on Amazon Prime. We open at Allie's mom's house. Mom is returning to the house. She's blabbering on and on about her Christmas shopping, and we don't see who she's talking to for a good 30 seconds. The credits in Internet Movie Database call her Grandma, but Allie herself refers to her as her mother. I checked, this is not the original actress to play her mother in Karate Kid. Her mother asks, while she's in town, is she going to meet up with any of the old gang? And Allie responds that she doesn't have to worry. She has her plans all figured out. And credits. Cut to Carmen and Johnny sleeping together, having finally consummated their long simmering tension. Carmen asks happily, where did they go from here? And Johnny takes it literally, saying that there isn't much food in the fridge. But Carmen has a much deeper conversation in mind. Johnny doesn't want to screw things up with Miguel, but then again, she's pretty hot. Johnny admits it's been a while since he's been in a romantic situation. You and me both, Johnny. Cameron asks, you can't let your guard down, Sensei? Or are you too scared? Johnny doesn't get to answer the question, because she has to go to work. But maybe they can talk about it when they get home. After she leaves, Johnny eats breakfast, checks his computer, and notices he finally got a reply from Allie. She says that she's in town and suggests they meet up for lunch. Johnny, spotting Cameron leaving for work out his window, is a little conflicted on the matter. We don't see what he decides, but I have a pretty good feeling that we know where this is going. Cut to Samantha and Miguel at Miyagi-Do. Miguel notices Mr. Miyagi, and they have a brief, half-hearted conflict about their different styles. Miguel notices the drum from Karate Kid 2, and is curious about it. They flirt and fight. Cripes, guys, get a room. No, not this one. Get a different room. They start making out on the floor. Guys, I told you, not this room. Daniel opens the door and catches them. I freaking told you guys, but did you listen to me? No. Anyway, for the time being, Daniel seems more upset that Miguel has his drum in his pocket. Is that a drum in your pocket? Or are you happy to see me? Okay, that joke was just way too easy. Low-hanging fruit, if you will. Cut to Cobra Kai with Kreese. Robbie wakes up and enters the main dojo. He says he slept in worse places. So has Kreese. Given that Kreese was in Vietnam, I think Kreese probably wins that one. Kreese is about to show him some moves, when who should walk through the door but several students, including Hawk, who's pissed to see him, and Tori, who is inexplicably happy to see him. I still don't get that one, whatsoever, but whatever. In Kreese's office, Hawk argues against Robbie being there, and my guess, this is another wedge that leads to Hawk switching sides in the finale, but not enough work has really been done to earn that, really. Again, that's more of a discussion for the finale. Kreese tells Hawk that what he learned was that the enemy of his enemy is his friend. Okay, got any more cliches for me, Crease? Cripes, it's not even breakfast time yet. You know what I learned? You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. What, you don't think that applies? Well, fine then. In the part of the dojo where Robbie was sleeping, he's packing up his things. Tori joins him and asks him, "You quitting already?" Robbie points out that he never joined in the first place. She accuses him of running away. She tells him that she hated him for what he did to Miguel, hated everyone in general. But Kreese channeled that anger and made her stronger. She suggests Robbie join some of them later for their upcoming shenanigans. Cut to Johnny, trying to act all classy in some type of restaurant. He appears to be practicing to impress Allie. She joins him. They have awkward small talk. And he ends up ordering something he's probably never heard of. And in fact, I have never heard of. She just orders a burger. Johnny changes his mind. You see there, Johnny? You just had to be yourself. Well, I guess we're not done with the cliches just yet. Those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. What? That also doesn't apply? Meh, whatever. I'll finally hit it on something eventually that makes sense. Cut to Daniel and Samantha. He's giving her crap about jumping from Miguel to Robbie and back to Miguel, and while I agree with him, and I very much do, I'm not sure he's the person to be saying it. He doesn't trust Miguel, but Samantha says that he's changed, that he's a good person, and no longer Cobra Kai's main bully. Oh boy. Okay. This prompts a bit of a rant for me. I'm fine if she's saying this for Daniel's benefit, just to sway him. But point of fact, Miguel was always a good person. He was never Cobra Kai's main bully. That was Hawk. Yes, Miguel briefly did go down a wrong path at the end of Season 1. The only fighting he ever engaged in Season 2 up until the finale was during training or the tournaments. And if you want to hold his actions in the Season 2 finale against him, I can see your point. But there was a lot more wrong going on there than just Miguel. And he's the one who showed mercy to Robbie, and it nearly cost him his life, when Robbie didn't return the favor. He was never involved in any of Cobra Kai's bullying antics. He wasn't at the mall attack in Season 2. He wasn't responsible for stealing Miyagi's Medal of Honor. Again, that was Hawk. In fact, he returned the damn thing. He has never given two craps about the feud between Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai. I mean, maybe he did in Season 1, but at some points during Season 2. But that was just like the battle to get more students. But other than that, he really didn't care. Once again, I'm fine if Samantha is just saying this for her father's benefit. But if she actually believes it, well, then I take serious issue with her. Miguel, other than a very brief amount of time, was always a good kid. Cut to Tori, Hawk, and Kyler, ready to break into the zoo for some unknown Cobra Kai wacky hijinks. Plus some unknown random Cobra Kai members who aren't even credited on Internet Movie Database. When who should arrive but Robbie himself? Hawk is unenthused by this turn of events, but he's offered a beer, which he doesn't take because he doesn't need a beer to pretend to be cool. That's right, Robbie is so good at pretending to be cool, he doesn't even need a beer for it. Robbie is reluctant to enter, and Tori says it's not a violation of parole. Oh, really? Breaking and entering isn't a violation of parole? Well, hell, apparently breaking into someone's house and beating up the occupants of said house also isn't a violation of parole. But hell, we'll get to that next episode. Robbie is confused why they have to break into the zoo, and Tori just says, "You'll see. There's more than one way to skin a cat." No, that still doesn't make any sense. Back to Johnny and Allie reminiscing about the good old days, where we learn that Allie is separated from her husband. Johnny says that he's sorry, and says it convincingly, though he does refer to him as an idiot, which is the Johnny we all know and love. This causes Allie to laugh, which she says that she loves the fact that after all these years, he can still make her laugh. Laughter, after all, is the best medicine. Hey, I think that one actually makes sense. Johnny proceeds to apologize, and the seas did not boil, the moon did not turn to blood, and hell did not freeze over. This is really happening, folks. He apologizes for screwing up and taking her for granted in the past, and for her radio, though he throws Dutch under the bus, blaming him for running over the radio, which we saw in the original Karate Kid movie. Allie has an idea for something fun. I wonder what this could be. Cut to Miguel admiring Miyagi's old car, which he's caught doing by Daniel, and they start to bond. Miguel gets the other side of the story regarding the Johnny and Daniel feud. This is a scene I was referring to earlier as my favorite of the episode, and something of a lead-in to next season's events and what I love about that season so much. At the zoo, Cobra Kai's evil plan is to steal a snake, a cobra specifically, but Kyler screwed up. Well, color me shocked. Unfortunately, this scene does not contain repeated punching of Kyler in the face. Hawk gives him crap for forgetting the one thing he was asked to bring, but Kyler says he has a lot of things on his mind. If he doesn't pass Trig, which I had the good sense never to take, by the way, his dad is going to shit in his mouth. This gets the appropriate what the fuck reaction from Hawk. They hear someone coming, and they all run. All except for Robbie, who's the one who should be running, because if he's caught, he's going back to juvie. Outside, Hawk chastises Kyler for causing them to fail the mission. Only they didn't, because Robbie saved the day. He doesn't need a beer to pretend to be cool. All he has to do is steal a snake. Well, hell, I think even that would do it for me. Well, he impressed Tori at least, who's looking at him with I want you eyes. I guess nearly killing one's boyfriend acts like an aphrodisiac. Back to Miguel and Johnny bonding. Miguel getting a better understanding of the man who his mentor is rivals with. And once you know it, it all comes down to Allie. That's where it starts at least. Who happens to be in town? I'm sure that's not going to come into play at all. But Daniel has to go. They shake hands, and it was a nice little scene between two people who previously didn't quite know who the other was, and puts an end to Miguel's fear of not being accepted by this man. Daniel parts ways with suggesting that they keep the sparring, and I say that in quotation marks because, he pretty much does too, to a minimum, if you know what he means. I think you might. Meanwhile, what's Allie's idea for fun? Why, visiting the golf and stuff, playing some air hockey. Can I come? No? Well, fine then. They share a near-romantic scene, but they are interrupted by a phone call. Allie has to go to a party because she promised her mother, and invites Johnny along for the ride. Back at Cobra Kai Dojo, Kreese is impressed with the capturing of the snake, particularly praising Robbie, which makes Hawk uncomfortable. In his speech, he attracts Tori's attention and brings up Miguel and Sam working together to save the tournament, which sends Tori off on a jealous fit. Well, I mean, you're practically doing Robbie in the back right now, so what do you care at this point? Sam and Miguel have hatched a plan to bury the hatchet between Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang, under the guise of throwing a party with the parents out of town. The members of Miyagi-Do are less than impressed when it seems like nothing is going on, when in fact, a drunken rager should be happening. Well, don't worry, a rager of some type is soon to happen. Mitch and Bert enter. Dimitri realizes that they have been parent-trapped, and Sam makes the impassioned plea that while those in the room haven't always gotten along, Cobra Kai is a bigger threat to all of them. Miguel thinks they would stand a better chance together as opposed to separate. Yes, they have all done crappy things to each other, like breaking Dimitri's arm, almost getting Chris fired, and, well, there's Owen over there hating Nathaniel's stupid face. Man, that had to hurt. Well, you know what, Bert? Your mom. Yeah, take that, Bert. Bet that was worse than any punch to the face would ever hurt. Or hell, getting thrown through a window. Sigh. We'll talk about that next week. Nathaniel has a more cutting remark than what I just came up, and he says, if you died, I wouldn't even attend your funeral. Yikes. Miguel thinks, based on the temperature of the room, this isn't going to work. But Sam says it has to. We cut to Johnny going to the party, and we hear Sam continue to talk. This is their one last chance to make things right. Separate they are nothing, but together they have a shot. If they can't get over the past, then the fighting will never stop. We see Johnny enter the Casino Club. He sees Allie and smiles from a distance. Sam continues, "We have to confront our enemies." Johnny sees Daniel talking to Allie, and originally I was like, oh, come on, we're going this direction. I mean, okay, yes, fine. Allie's in town. She's important to both Johnny and Daniel. But do we have to set up this jealousy angle? This little feud that they're going to have now? But, as it turns out, I have less reason to be concerned about that than I should have been. I was not thrilled with what they were setting up, but I should have given the writers some more credit. Johnny looks at Daniel hugging Allie and gets pensive. And he tightens his coat, ready to do battle. Sam finishes. The rivalry has to stop, one way or another. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the episode. Pretty good episode all in all, but man, the finale, while it has some awesome moments, is kind of a letdown. Next time we meet, we will be talking about Season 3, Episode 10, December 19th. That's the title of the episode, not the date. That's all I got for you for today's video. If you like this video and want to support the channel, please follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can buy something from the Core Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a coffee, which is a new way to support content creators such as myself. And of course, you can like, share, and comment, as well as subscribing to my channel. This is Dave from Core Productions, signing off.